Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. Now, human beings, we are finite creatures with finite minds. And so there are certain things that are extremely difficult for us to wrap our minds around. Like infinity. Or the actual beginning of the universe. The idea that once there was nothing and then there was a whole lot of stuff is a mind blower. But so is the idea that the universe always existed. Even if you accept the Big Bang Theory, there is still the question, well, what was going on before it? And the Big Bang Theory itself is simply the best theory available, not necessarily a perfect theory. There is evidence for it. The fact that the universe is expanding suggests that that a massive force is propelling everything away from a central point. And there is also microwave background radiation, which I'm not a scientist. Don't expect me to explain how that is evidence for the Big Bang Theory, but scientists say it is. But the concepts within the theory are very hard to grasp. The idea that all of the matter in the universe was once compressed into a single infinitesimally small singularity is not easy on the mind. So it's not hard to understand why the concept of God exists. It's a surefire way, a one-step explanation for everything. Rather than twisting our minds into pretzels, it's just easier to say God did it and go on to other things. But when human beings came up with the God theory, we didn't know much about how things worked in the world and in the universe. We thought we were the center of everything. That we were in the middle of an extremely small universe. We didn't know what diseases were. We didn't know what caused earthquakes and volcanoes. We didn't know what caused storms and droughts and things like that. Mental illness certainly looked like a curse or something demonic. So now we know that a lot of things that used to be explained by the God theory are not anymore. We have scientific explanations for those things. We know that throwing virgins into volcanoes is just a terrible waste of human life. Unless we're terribly stupid, when people get sick, we take them to the doctor. And we know that we are a very unimportant planet, a tiny speck in a vast universe. But the God theory is not subject to revision. If tomorrow scientists discover something that blows the Big Bang Theory out of the water, then they will either revise it or discard it completely. And even though most people do currently accept the germ theory, geology, disease, climate, no religion has ever come right out and said that these things are not God's punishments. They have just gone silent on the issue. And there are still a lot of religious speakers or spokespeople who insist that a natural disaster or a disease outbreak is God's punishment. And even though smart, reasonable people reject that, they have a lot of followers. In short, the God theory remains unchanged and unchangeable, even in its most primitive aspects. God loves us, but it doesn't stop him, and he's all merciful, but it doesn't stop him from doing the most horrible things to us. God is all-knowing, but we have free will. God is all good, but he chooses to do nothing about the evil in the world. And then there is the fact that according to myth and legend, at one time God used to be a very active and visible presence. Nowadays, it's like he's gone into hiding. And when he was active and visible, a lot of the things that he wanted done or did himself were of dubious morality, like collective punishment. God used to destroy entire cities because some people in the city were acting in ways he didn't like. And he was also the foremost proponent of genocide. So there's a lot of questionable morality in God, who is supposed to be the source of morality. And that is one reason why the God theory is unchanging. Because to deal with current knowledge, the God theory would have to be revised downward. No, God doesn't inflict disease and bad weather on us. No, God is not all perfect, being that they think he is, based on his creations, which some of them are pretty shoddy. And he's not all loving and all merciful. In fact, sometimes he's a real dick. Thanks for listening.